Hello, my name is Caroline Radowski and I'm a podiatrist and also a lecturer at La Trobe University in Bendigo, which is located in rural Victoria, about 160 k's away from Melbourne. Before my role as a lecturer, I actually used to work as a podiatrist in a remote setting. That was in outback Queensland, Mount Isa, where I used to travel to the lower Gulf. I used to do this in a team, so usually which consisted of myself, a physio and a dietitian, and sometimes would switch to an occupational therapist. It was a very rewarding role in that I got to see a lot of Australia, also have contact with a lot of chronic conditions that I had only learnt about at university but never seen the end stage of these chronic diseases, so I had my hand in management of those. In saying that, I got to work with some really fantastic specialists. So I worked with the likes one-on-one with an endocrinologist, which if you're working within a city atmosphere, that doesn't always happen. It's more of a phone conversation. We actually used to work in a triad, so there'd be basically myself, the endocrinologist, and a dietitian, and we'd work to manage the client's health all together. So that was really, really positive and worked very interdisciplinary in that sort of approach. I also found working with Indigenous people out there being my main clientele, that was a very rewarding experience. I got to learn a new facet of health, and sometimes that health is not everybody's priority, which can be a little bit of a different view on things, especially if you're coming from a city approach to care and so forth through there. Other things that you'd find was that you had to be a lot more resourceful. So I didn't have, say, my podiatry equipment that I couldn't take with me, say a grinder or something like that, which would allow me to make orthotics. I couldn't do that on the spot. Sometimes I needed other specialist equipment, so for diabetes assessments, I needed a Doppler, those types of things that have to be a little bit more prepared and organised. Because basically out there you can see anything and everything, and some days you can be very busy and others you may not be, so you've got to be prepared for any patient that walks through the door. In saying that, it makes your skills become exceptionally good, because at the end of the day you're the only healthcare practitioner they may even encounter in the next month or half a year, depending on where they're coming from, if it's a remote location through there. You may be the sole health practitioner that people trust as well, so you may have to organise all their healthcare. You might even have to advocate for the patient for different primary care healthcare focuses. So sometimes I'd advocate for new housing for a client or an education program, things that they weren't able to do for themselves. So this is what you get when you work out there. You have a really broad approach to your care, primary health care approach to treating your clients. The challenging thing, I guess, working out in a remote setting was probably the amount of time that you spent away from home. So sometimes you missed a little bit of that social connection between friends that you had back in town, or family that may be living in the city. So that was a little bit hard at times. However, working in a team, I got to know all my different colleagues very well, and we acted as our own little family. In fact, I sometimes knew what some of my team members ate and did more than, say, partners in the past or family or anything like that. So that was a little bit strange at times. Other challenging aspects would be that sometimes you didn't have all the answers. You didn't know what was going on with the client, and you'd have to go back and consult, say, with another podiatrist or specialist at a later time. So sometimes those answers weren't straight up as if you could go access them straight away if you're in, say, a city clinic or something like that. Overall, I find working in a rural remote setting very rewarding. I currently still work in a rural setting, so as well as working in Bendigo, I work at a hospital in Castlemaine, so I still enjoy seeing these types of clients. I find them more open-minded, very friendly. You get a different approach to care in that it's more holistic and people rely on you, and your skills, they get upgraded exponentially, especially if you're the only one you can rely on for that little bit of time. You put a little bit of hard work in and you can specialise in anything that you want to be. So I thoroughly recommend, and I always tell this to all my fellow students and people that I'm training, and even people that I work with, that it's a very rewarding experience to work in a rural remote setting, and I recommend it for everybody. Okay? Thank you.